Too new. Too new. Too new. Too new. Too new. Too new.
No masters, no slaves, no rulers, no state, no taxes, no cage. To see it is to leave it.
Voluntaryist Academy is an educational platform dedicated to the principles of non-aggression, self-ownership, and the ethical philosophy of voluntarism. Here, we reject the mythology of political authority and embrace the timeless truth that all human interaction should be grounded in consent and moral integrity. Through rigorous study, in-depth courses, and accessible materials, Voluntaryist Academy equips individuals with the tools to critically examine the foundations of coercive systems and to replace them with voluntary, peaceful alternatives rooted in natural law. Whether you are new to these ideas or looking to deepen your understanding, Voluntaryist Academy provides a structured path to intellectual freedom, ethical consistency, and personal sovereignty. Welcome. Explore the curriculum, challenge false assumptions, and learn to live free. All right, so back from a brief couple week hiatus or a break. And yeah, I'm excited for tonight is the epic conclusion of The End of All Evil by Jeremy Locke. Next week, we'll be featuring an interview with Chris Jansen of the End Evil podcast. And this week, well, I already said what we're doing this week. But this week, I would like to remind everybody that we stream live on Saturday nights. So if you're listening to the replay of this, come over to YouTube and check out a live stream on Saturday nights, and you can drop in and say hello and enjoy the live stream. I would like to give a huge shout out to my volunteer assistant, whatchamacallit. Her name is Jonna, and she's banging out the Rumble channel. And we're all caught up on the Rumble channel, and pretty soon we're going to be caught up on a bunch of other stuff too. And we got some exciting things in the future for Voluntaryist Academy. I would like to direct you all over to voluntaristacademy.com. When you go to the homepage, you can search the website for many, many things. And look, we're starting to put more videos up there. And the videos on the website are going to be from the Rumble channel in case the YouTube algorithm or the YouTube terms of service change and they decide that this is no longer a channel worthy of being on their big tyrannical platform. So if you want to avoid losing touch with me and the project of Voluntarist Academy, go over and sign up to the newsletter. And we're going to be working on getting those back out pretty soon. And if you're interested, become a sponsor. Become a sponsor of this, and you can join a Discord server and kind of join up with some like-minded folks that want to talk about real-world solutions to the real-world problems that we're facing as governments become more tyrannical and the globalist New World Order becomes more of a reality with their surveillance systems and their global panopticon that they're attempting to set up under our noses while they distract us with all sorts of social despair and economic despair and all these things that they have strategically put in place, the bread and circuses that they subject most people to. If you're a person that wants to kind of break out of that and talk about things that maybe are uncomfortable to talk about with your family, I know at one point in time, I felt pretty alone, and it's something that I wanted to provide for people, but I need help. I need help keeping this project afloat, covering the cost of the hosting and all the things that go for the website. And if we can get to a point where enough money is coming in, it all gets rolled back into the project anyways. We will be able to set up something like a StreamYard or something like that, where we go out live to many, many platforms. So that's the goal. If anyone wants to help out with that, it's $3 a month for the time being. And then, maybe one day, or you can choose the $5 a month option. All the benefits are the same, really. But I just figured that there'd be, I don't know, some people out there that for $3 a month, that's less than the price of a cup of coffee that some people buy every single day. So you get a whole month, and you can pay for the whole year, and you get like a discount if you pay for the whole year. So that's pretty cool too. And so you can join that. And I want you to go over to getautonomy.info. Oh man, I still haven't fixed it. So getautonomy.info and check out Richard Grove's course for self-discovery and see about your dreams being brought to reality, and see if there's a way for you to bring an idea for like a business or something that you have in mind that you want to bring to the market in order to help people improve their lives. And there's all sorts of types of skills that you learn over in Autonomy. If you go to getautonomy.info, tell them I sent you. That's a way for you to support this endeavor of mine, because I'm an affiliate. I'm an Autonomy graduate, a proud Autonomy graduate, season 10, what? And so yeah. And also you can go to the One Great Work Network at onegreatworknetwork.com, and you can find like 70 or 80 different content creators that are in the space of natural law, personal sovereignty, liberty, anarchism, the occult. Woo, the occult. And you can check out all of their work over there. I've been a part of that for some years now. And Mark Passio is the man. He's a legend, and he set this One Great Work Network up about 5 years ago now. And it features so many talented individuals, some more known than others, all equally putting in a great effort into bringing the knowledge of natural law, the teachings of natural law, to the great people of the world. in an effort to expose the criminality of the ruling class, which is what these streams are all about. While you're at the website, voluntaristacademy.com/resources, and you'll be able to take home with you all these PDFs that you could find on your own, or you could just come over to my website where I've provided a list where you can download them and take them home with you, or you can even just read them right off the website. I suggest you take them home with you. So you don't want to become a sponsor. I get it. If you want to just make a one-time donation, you can do that as well over at the donate page or the support page, voluntaristacademy.com/donate. And you can choose from several different cryptocurrencies or just make a direct PayPal donation or a direct payment, a donation at buymeacoffee.com. You can also, while you're there, write me a short message that goes right to my inbox. And I always love seeing that stuff from you guys because I like the feedback. I'm not a sucker for it. I just enjoy seeing it. You can find me on all sorts of different social medias too. Facebook, Instagram, X. And yeah, that just does, just about does it for the housekeeping notes that I had in mind. So, yeah, tonight we're going to finish up The End of All Evil by Jeremy Locke. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So we tried this. This is my second attempt, and I wasn't feeling the best on the first one a few weeks ago, so I took a couple weeks off to rest and to make sure that I could really hit a home run with this ending here. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Chapter 8, The Pattern of Liberty. The pattern of tyranny has repeated itself throughout history. It cycles in every instance of evil, large and small. The pattern of liberty, however, is a singular flow that has been progressing slowly since the beginning of time. Evil has been on earth as long as man. The tactics of evil have changed infrequently, and only do so when forced by the progress of liberty. Every time liberty has progressed, one of the ideas or concepts of evil has died. When cultural control over people is broken, the pattern of liberty takes another step forward, and culture has been forced to adapt to maintain control over people. By using threats of death, torture, mutilation, and imprisonment, every kingdom on earth has prospered. War created the empires of history, and culture preserved them. All who would not submit to the rule of law were killed. Such ignorance of the power of culture is a thing of the past. Modern technology, brought by increasing degrees of freedom, is allowing the people of the world to see culture for what it is. The pattern of liberty shows how freedom has progressed through history. While cultures around the world teach that evil's control is strengthening, the pattern of liberty shows clearly that evil is weakening. The pattern of liberty predicts the ultimate failure of culture and the ultimate end of evil. Progress through history. The pattern of liberty tracks the destruction of ideas and empires through history. It also tracks the progress of principles and technology. One such technology is gunpowder. One of the defining technologies that dramatically altered the scope of culture was gunpowder. Prior to its availability, only those who could amass strong armies could effectively defend their land and families. This meant that people were heavily at the mercy of governments and kings. Once gunpowder became available, even small bands of families could challenge the mighty castles of empires. Gunpowder reshaped the kingdoms of earth by empowering people to challenge the violent control employed by the lords of war. The printing press reshaped the nature of culture like nothing the world had ever seen. Before its invention, almost nobody knew how to read. It was simply too expensive to own a book. Once the cost of printing dropped, literacy skyrocketed. Information was standardized on a scale unknown in all of history. It became much more difficult for cultures to center their power on the ignorance of people. Religion was dominated by those who could control the scriptures. With this power, they were able to influence the political freedoms and even the very lifestyles of people. The Bible was the first book printed and soon spread far and wide. Though the Roman Church had men killed for translating the Bible into native languages, such as English, it eventually became available in every language on earth. Theocratic power in the Christian world fragmented, and people chose to pursue divergent ideas. The printing press was the foundation of all technology. Whereas mathematics and engineering have existed in strength in different areas in history, they never survived. War destroyed the information learned. After the printing press, so many copies of books could be maintained that human knowledge persisted in writing and spread as fast as the thirst for it demanded. The Great American Experiment was a proof for the world. It dared to call the bluff of culture and test what people would do with liberty. Whereas culture had long taught that people were not able or worthy of ruling their own lives, the American Rebellion taught people that they were fully able to live life without a king. They taught by their actions and writings that men were worth more than governments. This experiment in freedom lived past its first test as they defeated the armies of King George. The shock that rang through the world was enough to shatter the bonds of the culture of royalty that had enslaved Earth for thousands of years. The internet and modern computing power have destroyed cultural ignorance once and for all. Like the printing press before it, the internet has made possible the widespread dissemination and near indestructibility of information. The bonds of culture are founded in the control of speech and control of mind. When people are free to speak what they think, people learn wisdom at an astonishing pace. For cultures to succeed, they require imposed ignorance and cultivation of planned thought. As soon as people question the rule of law, authority is lost. The cultural shift away from intellectual property is a telltale sign of the end of government rule. In the past, information was regarded as owed by the people who developed it. This meant that anyone who attempted to use that information could be punished by the violence of law. The future holds a shift in thinking that few will be willing to accept until they see it happen. Intellectual property is not a principle. Since it must be enforced by restricting the liberties of people, it is an idea and a construct of law. The shift that awaits the world is one of the impossibility of enforcement. Law will struggle mightily in defense of authority and taxability, but will ultimately lose. This is the power of global communication and information retention. Nearly every law will become impossible to enforce. The principles of computing power give the freedom necessary for people to escape tyranny. Violence replaces culture. When cultures break down and the authorities they protect are threatened, violence grows. Violence is a necessary component of control. Violent enforcement is necessary to ward off sedition. Violence changes the dynamics by making the cost of freedom death. Every time the pattern of liberty has progressed throughout history, violence has increased. The future will be no different. As people learn about freedom and see what is possible in their own lives, evil will clamp down. Authorities will employ greater degrees of violence as they lose their grip on power. This is the death of a culture. This is the meaning of war. As the pattern of liberty reaches its final step, the most oppressed cultures on earth will lose adherence the quickest, and those cultures will produce the most violent crackdowns. One of the evidences of this violence is terrorist attacks. Those in modern times are no different from terrorist attacks in history. Oppressed peoples do not want to be oppressed. When they learn of freedom, they seek more of it for their own lives. Evil cultures always demonize freedom. Because the United States of America has been historically freer than other places, it is attacked by terrorist regimes in an attempt to teach enslaved peoples that freedom is weakness. They teach that freedom is depravity and insecurity. Such attacks have nothing to do with the people being attacked. They are about maintaining the grip of cultural slavery over oppressed peoples. The violence of dying cultures can destroy millions of lives, but it never lasts long. Earth's era of wars is over. The rapid pace of nation creation and destruction is evidence of the accelerating pace of the pattern of liberty. New cultural twists invented by evil men are discovered and crushed. Technology and population. One of the principles of history is that freedom is a function of population. Population growth endangers tyranny. All the major tyrants of history have sought to limit growth. Births expand the human experience and teach people about opportunity, hope, and faith. This freedom is not conducive to slavery. The more people that live in a culture, the more dissent you will find. It is nearly impossible to control large numbers of people with primitive cultures. One of the evidences of the completion of the pattern of liberty is the astounding population of Earth. Technology endangers evil on every hand. Its use, implementation, and imagination are diametrically opposite to evil. Technology is born of freedom. Freedom brings wisdom to people who implement learned principles in practical solutions. This search for wisdom teaches people the value that they have within themselves. It teaches them to stretch the limits of their intelligence and faith. This is more than concerning to the control of authority. It is the death of evil. The use of technology enables the evasion of authority. One powerful example of this is the evasion of taxation. Governments are institutionalized extortion. When technology allows people to remove the control of money from government hands, taxation becomes impossible. Advanced encryption and anonymous peer-to-peer networking technology allows for exactly this. Economic exchanges are freed from the bounds of legal tender and regulation. The future of technology brings the impossibility of tracking money and enforcing taxation. This transition will be marked by violence as governments try to salvage their monstrous rates of extortion. The comforts and prosperity of technology demonstrate to the world what the fruits of freedom are. It is entirely impossible to hide from culturally enslaved peoples the glory that is human life. Principles and products leak through every culture on Earth. The kings of old have fallen. Communism is weakened. Theocracy is dying. Democracies are bankrupt. Violence will mark the transitions, but freedom will prevail. The American Dream. The American dream was for a land where people would be free from the interference of government. The dream was one of freedom to pursue joy and happiness. Today, culture teaches that the American dream is a specific and tightly defined perspective on the perfect life, and that the reason the United States of America is great is because it has the ability to create that life for you. Culture perverts everything good. The American dream is not an American dream. The Great American Experiment brought massive liberty to the people of America, more than had been seen at any other time or place on Earth. The experiment and the dream are not for Americans. The United States of America is not to be respected as a nation. It is not a favored group. There is no magic, no cultural supremacy in the red, white, and blue. The Great American Experiment is to be respected only because it taught people that they are worth more than the law. The government of the United States of America in modern times closely resembles both a democracy and a welfare state. It is bankrupt and heavily enforced by legions of law. Culture would have you believe that this is its legacy. It is not. The Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the very action of rebellion against a king taught the people of the world that government had no natural right over them. These things taught the whole earth that they owed government and authority nothing. It told people that authority should never tell them what they could say, how they could worship, what they could print, and where they could gather. The Declaration of Independence told people that law enforcement is a dangerous animal and that they ought to be able and willing to defend themselves against it. It taught people that government and authority can be limited. It taught people that they were worth more than the law. This mighty step taken in the pattern of liberty has nothing to do with democracy or government. The power and beauty of this step was the anti-culture created by men of rebellion. They attacked every leg of authority by teaching people about a measure of their own worth. The experiment has proven successful. Freedom for people does not create anarchy. America is not perfect, and it will not be the end of freedom. Mankind's thirst for liberty will not endure the tyrannies of earth for long. They will be taught that they are worthy of ruling their own lives. The pattern of tyranny will be broken. The American dream is not an American dream. It is a human dream. It was a giant stair climbed on the backs of heroes toward the freedom of men. It will not be the last. Competition for freedom. As people are able to look beyond the tyranny of their own lives to divergent cultures on Earth, they will see a competition for freedom. The lure of freedom will be evidenced by the technology, prosperity, and peace of freer people. They will ask why it is noble for them to obey certain laws, but not the rest of the world. They will see that those things which are demanded of them are not natural, that they are tyranny. The pattern of liberty progresses every time the lies of culture are discovered and understood. Though cultures are designed to maintain tight control of the minds of people so that they cannot see the tyranny over them, witnessing freedom can break the bonds nearly instantly. When the violence of dying cultures runs out and freedom peeks out of every dark place on earth, the people of the world will begin a competition for freedom. When there is freedom to move and shop for jurisdictions, you will find that people move to freer societies, not stricter ones. Moreover, elements of evil will gravitate to more restricted societies because they are easier to exert control over. This is the final chapter for evil. Technology, communications, and wisdom free people to evade authority, and they will do so with ever-increasing effectiveness. This is the completion of the pattern of liberty. This is where evil ends. Chapter 9. End of evil. Voice is a principle of intelligence. Voice is the highest form of communication between beings of the highest intelligence. The passion and feeling that people are able to put behind their words can change lives and change worlds. The few who achieve a glimpse of the power of voice bring either insane destruction or awesome freedom. Every great and terrible culture brought into the world was brought by the principle of voice. Every rebellion and revolution that destroyed cultures and empires was brought by the power of voice. Men who understood the principle of voice have irrevocably altered our world. The principle of voice is found in every element of human communication. Writing and books are lesser forms of human voice. Every transfer of words contains the power to change lives. When accompanied by the passion of life, voice alone has the power to free worlds. When people are unfettered by the chains of culture, and when they do not believe the lie that they are powerless, they can change everything. To change the world, you must have the faith that you have such ability in yourself. You must open your mouth and speak. The principle of voice is the passion to convince, the passion to teach, and the passion to create faith. It will strengthen you, and you should choose to use it. And should you choose to use it, you will change lives. Future. The dreams that burn in the hearts of billions have been growing stronger through the millennia. Ages of destruction wrought by tyranny will not go unanswered. The children of this world are owed a liberty from slavery that can only be satisfied by the utter eradication of evil from the earth. Every dream of feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and helping the poor is answered in this cause. Human beings are able to answer every need and desire of our world by using the principles we learn all around us. When the obstacles of evil are removed from the lives of people, technology and prosperity advance on an exponential scale. With only limited degrees of freedom in a small percentage of the world, human beings have cured scores of disease and discovered methods of feeding billions. All the comforts of modern life were made possible by people with the faith to succeed. Ask yourself what miracles may be accomplished when this small percentage becomes a perfect freedom and is achieved for every one of the billions of people on earth. This is the infinite value of human beings. You are the key. The progress of liberty on our world is advanced by challenging culture and authority. Technology and the proof of the great American experiment are in our hands. To challenge evil, all that remains is to open your mouth and tell the people of the world that the dream of freedom is real. It is you who will teach the people of earth their value. It is you who will bring to pass the greatest revolution in the history of mankind. To challenge the authority of evil, you need to dismantle its tools of violence and culture. Culture is dismantled as simply as disobedience to the control of speech. When you speak your mind and refuse to take offense when others do the same, cultures cannot survive. There is nothing to fear in freedom. Violence is the tool of first and last resort for evil. Those few who will use it to enslave cannot be left alive. A perfect revolution. The price of freedom is blood. This is an immutable truth. The reason is that evil does not care if you live or die. Evil will stop at nothing to achieve mastery over you. A perfect revolution is a revolution where all of the blood paid for freedom is paid by tyrants, and where none is paid by the innocent. There are only 3 types of action a person can take: that which exercises freedom, that which defends it, and that which destroys it. Culture teaches the nobility of destroying freedom by concepts such as the rule of law. At the same time, it teaches the immorality of defending freedom in concepts such as police authority. Culture cannot be allowed to continue. As long as men of violence walk the earth, they will devise ways to create cultures under the threat of death. The defense of freedom is always righteous, and no tyrant can be spared. There is no proper role for tyranny in the lives of people. As soon as you yield to the forces of compulsion in the name of life, you have lost your life, for it belongs to those who control you. Life is liberty. Without liberty, your life belongs to another. Liberty is to be defended at all costs and at all times. Govern yourself, for this is the nature of an individual. You and you alone control your actions and your mind. This is right, proper, and good. You have a responsibility to defend your liberty at all times. If you do not, it will be destroyed. To yield defense of your liberty to another is an absolute invitation to tyranny. Personal sovereignty is the end of evil, when every person on earth will defend themselves and those they love, when evil cannot gain even a foothold because all people are watching for it and recognize that it seeks to destroy their value. This is the exact opposite of perfect evil, in which every person is a slave and a master of slaves. Perfect liberty is life, and in it there are no slaves and no masters of slaves. Perfect liberty is life. Earth. The cultures of Earth teach you to accept, to yield, and to obey. The end of evil is found in refusing this slavery of the mind. For the end of evil to be achieved, all people must be taught that they owe obedience to no one. They must be taught that the desires and dreams of their hearts are proper and good. They must be taught that every ounce of joy they seek can be had for themselves and those they love. This is the anti-culture, to free the minds of the people. Cultures are established first by the control of speech. Condemnation of speech is rampant in the strongest cultures. The end of evil will bring the defense of speech in every home and in every communication. Culture teaches that speech brings offense. Instead, you must see that speech brings a view into the mind of a human being. Ignore the interpretations of culture and see the intent and feeling of them who speak to you. And then speak back. The control of speech is crushed by the power of voice. In the end of evil, people cannot tolerate compulsion and force. The mistakes of history are found where people have allowed the establishment of culture. In every case, it was known that this establishment would destroy liberty. In the end of evil, tyranny will not be tolerated. You owe allegiance to no nation and to no law. You are a being of infinite worth and fully capable of escaping the bondage of evil. When you feel compelled to speak, speak. When you feel compelled not to speak, speak. When you are oppressed by law, circumvent it. When violence threatens you, crush it. Remember the lessons of technology. Technology is the fruit of freedom. Technology enables humanity at the expense of authority. Just one example of this is the extraction of economics from the control of nations. Regulation chokes economic activity by making it prohibitively expensive, cumbersome, and complex for newcomers to sell products and services. The answer is technology. Internet activities such as classified service listings will be merged with product auctions on an open and universal platform. We already understand how technology can bring the cost of selling down and make selling easier for everyone to accomplish. The lesson of evading extortion and control are, likewise, already learned. Global peer-to-peer networking ensures that no authority can switch off a server to dismantle economic activity. This dispersion of economic targets will make it impossible for governments to enforce taxation and control. Making peer-to-peer nodes anonymous using powerful encryption technology will make it extremely difficult for authorities to bring excessive violence upon individuals to force examples of obedience. Steganography within established protocols such as HTTP will make disabling specific communications impossible without disabling all communication. Merging public auctions and marketplaces with anonymous, steganographic, peer-to-peer networking will forever remove the control of economics from the hands of extortionist authorities. With technologies such as these, people can buy and sell anything without the interference of governments and mafias. Furthermore, governments will not be able to enforce taxation record keeping, since instead of a smaller number of corporations preferred by government, every one of the billions of people on Earth will engage their economics directly. Population and technology crush evil. What other devices can be imagined to free people from the tyranny of communism, terrorism, socialism, democracy, violence, and culture? With a human mind, there is no limit to imagination and invention. When technology and innovation beat down authoritative control, the liberty released will spawn astronomical advances. 1 ounce of freedom may bring 1 ounce of technology. 2 ounces may bring 10. 1 free person may bring 1 idea of innovation. 2 free people may bring 100. Total freedom for all people brings nothing less than infinite opportunity. The scale of the speed of human advancement can be seen in thousands of years of history, with modest gains in freedom and modest gains in technology. In the most recent few hundred years, technology has exploded. With each degree of freedom achieved, human knowledge builds exponentially. You have infinite value. With freedom, all things are possible. Technology, health, wealth, and knowledge are all facets of power. Each of these improve the lives of human beings. The fruits of liberty are everything good and bring peace, prosperity, and joy. You live after the era of wars, and the only remaining step in the pattern of liberty is to answer the question held in the minds of people around the world. The lies of millennia have not stopped the unquenchable thirst for freedom that grows within the hearts of every person on earth. They are poised and ready to take the freedom that is rightfully theirs. They need only hear that freedom is possible, that freedom is real. You are the key to teach the people of Earth the value that they have within themselves. You need only speak and tell them that every good thing is theirs to have. You need only tell them that the glory of liberty is real and that it belongs to them. This war is already won. Evil has already been crippled. Every human being on earth is ready to rise and let the chains that held them crumble to dust. This world will be free. If you can see your own value, then stand tall. Ye are called unto liberty. This book teaches you one lesson. You have infinite worth. So thank you all the people that are here live and all the people that are listening to the replay. Thank you for joining me on this journey through this text. The End of All Evil by Jeremy Locke was written in the early 2000s. And there's some things that maybe if it were written today, probably wouldn't be the same. Okay, so where do we begin? In this last section, okay, there's probably plenty in this book that if we went through it with a fine-tooth comb, we might be able to pick it apart, because that's what we're good at, right? Oh, this little thing here, that little thing there. But what we need to understand is the overarching message, that the umbrella that's been put over in us, and the message that this book is trying to tell people is exactly what's on the screen right now. It's right over here. I'm pointing at it, right? You have infinite worth. Okay. And it's the job of authorities to teach you that you don't, that you have limited worth, and that there's something wrong with you, or that you're that human beings are bad, that we have a bad nature, and that we have like original sin and all these things that they ingrain in your head, that culture teaches you to be ashamed of yourself, and to think of yourself as lesser than some other people, that we have to go and select and send them to the Capitol and make them make laws because we can't think for ourselves, and we don't want to make choices that reflect self-responsible people that take responsibility for their own actions. You know, this whole idea of, well, I didn't have a choice. Yes, you do. You always have a choice. This is the mark of a mature person, is someone that understands that they always have a choice, and that they choose to do the right thing because they want right results, and that they're going to take responsibility for their choices, because taking responsibility for your choices is the right thing to do. And that's what mature people do. What the culture has done to people has ingrained within them this immaturity that they cannot shake, because these individuals attach themselves to the cultures that don't allow them to shake the irresponsibility. They could, if they had faith in themselves, and if they took a chance on life and liberty, they could, in fact, shake this irresponsibility, and they could mature into a responsible adult or a responsible human, and to make, steps in the right direction to create more liberty on earth, instead of kind of simping for those that, to use a word that kids these days, simping, I think is the right, did I use that right? They're basically just allowing for authorities to take control over them. What I tell people, and what I've told my own children, is that when you aren't in control of yourself, when you lack self-control of your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you're like opening up the door and you're allowing somebody to just kind of walk in at their own leisure and to start taking control over you. When you can't make choices for yourself, you are abdicating that responsibility onto others, and they're going to make choices for you. This is the pathway to slavery. So what we do, if we want sovereignty, if we want individual liberty, if we want to have a freer world, we need to do the opposite of that. You need to be in control of your thoughts and emotions and actions. It's a cycle. Thought, emotion, action is a cycle. It's a 3-stage cycle, and everybody goes through it. And all of your actions affect other people's cycles. And this is part of respecting other people and understanding that they're human just like you, except some people are psychopaths. We call those people politicians and order-following scumbags that go out and fight wars and blow up kids, and protect pedophiles who like to rape and eat children on an island in the Caribbean somewhere. But that's not for me to convince you of. Go and look for yourself. Anyways, there's some files out there somewhere. I'd like to go back over. So I paused throughout the reading tonight because there's like a couple of things that I noticed. I was like, I kind of want to take a note real quick. So I took a couple notes here. I don't expect this to go long. Maybe, who knows? So Locke mentions terrorist attacks. He mentioned terrorist attacks tonight. All right. Well, let's talk about terrorist attacks, because we're living through an age right now where there's a ton of terrorist attacks going on all the time. And most of them are carried out by Israel and the United States. And there's a really good chance that most of the things that have happened on American soil are not what the authorities that you would have to first believe that they're telling the truth. But we know that you can't trust government. Okay. But you can believe them when they when they tell you about planes going into buildings and and all that stuff. So my point here being is that I don't think that, given the age of this book, it hasn't really aged very well. All right, in this regard of talking about terrorist attacks. First of all, you can't trust government. Clearly, if you're here, you already know that. You can't trust government. I don't think we need to be on this screen anymore. Maybe we can go over here. You know you can't trust government. Because we can just look in the most recent history of the most recent, I like James Evan Pilato where he says the next top resident, the next to be president, the next top resident of the United States. The biggest scam in probably my entire lifetime, the biggest con ever. This dude's out here talking about no new wars. He's going to do all this stuff. He's going to end taxation, and he's going to do all these crazy things that like no one's ever really come out and said before. And he's getting everybody all hyped up and everything. Well, now look at what's going on. They're killing children in the Middle East, and it's despicable behavior. So if you still trust government now, I don't know, man. I don't know if you can be helped, but you need to understand that the lies aren't isolated to just recent history. We just have better technology now to be able to record and to be able to make sure that this information is disseminated to massive amounts of people almost instantly. And that is a very powerful tool. However, the internet was created by government. It's a DARPA project. Most of social media is just like that. It's a DARPA project. It's meant to kind of cul-de-sac people into certain areas. And the mass amounts of people out there do not realize this. They refuse to even look into it. And they'll tell you that you're crazy for thinking these things or for knowing these things, that there's no way for you to prove it when there are plenty of ways to prove it. And all you'd have to do is really just to go and look. And there it is. There's the information. They're not trying to hide this stuff. They're proud of creating these things. What happened, however, is something that I don't think they accounted for, which I think Jeremy Locke is talking about in this book, is that once this technology is made available, there's ways to improve upon it that they don't understand. And that the use of these technologies is out of their control to a very big extent. And so things like social media and everything, yeah, like they're spying on you. This is all social engineering. These are all tools for social engineering. And we know that for a fact because what was it like? There was a scandal with Facebook. I think it was like Cambridge or something like that. I forget the name of it, but it came out that they were shifting people's perspective. They're giving little nudges here and there using social media, using these things, the algorithms are putting things in front of people. Like all right, here's a good example. And I don't necessarily have anything negative to say about the guy because I don't know him and I don't know him well enough. And I haven't watched enough of his content to make an opinion either which way. But I watched you watch one video of a certain guy, and this guy, Andrew Wilson, is what happened to me. It just happened. Something came up and he was talking about rights and, whether or not they exist. And I like hearing that argument because it's kind of fucking stupid if you think that rights don't exist, which actually is mentioned in this book. And we go over it next week. When Chris Jansen, I have the recording. I don't want to play it tonight, but we talk about it next. We'll talk about it next week. But just in case you can't make it to next week, when Jeremy Locke in this book is talking about rights, he's talking about rights that are supposedly given to people by governments. That's the context in which a couple weeks ago, when and once I think it's in part 4, maybe part 3, he mentions that rights don't exist. Well, he's talking about rights that are given to people, supposedly given to people by governments, which is an impossibility because you don't have the right to give other people rights. It's just not how it works. Natural law doesn't work that way. These rights exist. They're inherent to nature itself. Okay, so that's how it works. So you watch one video of like a certain content creator, and next thing you know, that's what's being pushed on you. And look how easily some people can be like their mindset can be shifted into thinking like these people, and to kind of, allowing this to change them. And this brings up the whole idea of whether or not the thoughts that you have are even your own thoughts. And that's a whole different discussion about how you decide whether or not something is even your own thoughts. But I mean, just kind of briefly, it's this is how the social engineering takes place. And it's nudging people into a direction where things, and not necessarily, I'm not saying that's Andrew Wilson's content. I'm just using him as an example of when you watch one video and next thing you know, you have like 20 of his videos, and 20 of his videos on your feed, and you never asked for them. But all of a sudden the algorithm is making things for you. And I used to say it's algorithmic intelligence, not artificial intelligence, but like nowadays it seems as though like there's actually some sort of artificial quality to this, these language models, which is another form of technology that is being it's being given to people. We never asked for it. It's thrust upon you. It's not done voluntarily. You never asked for it. It's just, this is how it goes now. You want the cell phone to communicate with people? This is on it now. There's cell phones out there that don't have any of this stuff that you could just as easily buy. And I'm not trying to be preachy here and try to claim I'm, whatever. I have a smartphone and it is what it is. But we're not asking for these technologies. They're just being given to people. And then There's those people over in like the World Economic Forum and Bilderberg and all these weird roundtable groups and all these weird these higher echelon elites of society that are just not elite at all because they want to take freedom away from people. That's not what an elite person does. An elite person doesn't steal freedom from people. An elite person makes more freedom by acting morally and with a conscience and with the consciousness to know that your actions matter and that the way that they affect other people matter because you're a human too. And you know how much it fucking sucks when somebody shits all over your fucking life and your ideas and the things that you try to do to make yourself happy and to make the people around you happy. You know how much it fucking sucks when people do that shit to you. So why would you go and do it to other people? The people that are stealing freedom are not elite. They suck. They're psychopaths and they need to be stopped. They are after population control, which is mentioned in the book tonight. And the people like the Club of Rome, the Limits to Growth that was published in the early 70s, this is their goal, is to get people into a culture where they think that there's too many people on the planet. They want everybody to be in a scarcity mindset instead of one of abundance, where there's plenty enough to go around. But instead, they'd like to fight over little pieces of the ground. There's a song by Tool called Right in Two, and it's off of their 10,000 Days album. It's toward the end of the album. It's one of the most beautiful songs that the band has ever put together. And it's all about this concept of there's plenty enough to go around, but for some reason, these silly monkeys, they keep just bashing each other over the head and fighting over pieces of the ground. And he says in that song, actually, you know what? Just go listen to the song and enjoy it and look up the lyrics because you'll see what I'm talking about. And it's fucking stupid. It's repugnant is what it is. These people are repugnant. They are trying to perfect evil. They're trying to perfect slavery on the planet on a worldwide basis. They need surveillance to do that, and they're giving us the technology like it's a gift, and we're putting ourselves there collectively as a human race. We're putting ourselves there. And all the wars that are going on right now are not because of freedom. They're not even really because of natural resources. They're because of banks. They're because of it's bankers, and it's because I mean, maybe it's about natural resources. Maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself there, and everything. But like the book encourages us to do, I'm using the power of my voice right now to kind of communicate out to people like what is happening here, what is going on here. You know, when we're allowing for this to happen, and no one person can do much of anything of good effect against this. But if we kind of team up, then we realize that we don't have to accept what they're giving us. We can say, no, thank you, please. We can create parallel systems in order to achieve something that is morally right and that is going to kind of help liberty grow. It's going to sow the seeds of liberty, these parallel systems. And we can say, no, thank you, please, to the oppressors. It takes a good amount of people to actually be successful in that. But it's not something that we should aim to hoard. It's being the power of example of what freedom can produce and what this book is talking about, where other people see that going on and it's that witnessing of the fruits of freedom that help people understand the tyranny and the slavery that they're under. That, my friends, is a powerful, powerful thing. And so we got to be careful, but we have to be, very diligent. We have to work hard. And responsibility is a tough thing to take all the time, but it's necessary for human freedom. It's necessary on an individual level that you take responsibility over your actions. And you don't abdicate that responsibility onto other people by claiming you had no choice. And this is the message for the soldiers and the cops of the world. You have a choice too. To sit there and say you had no choice is bullshit. Oh, I got to go to college, or my family needs health insurance, or all these little excuses that you might be able to come up with. You need to understand that they are using you, whatever noble intention you think you have, albeit, okay, you have a noble intention. It does not matter what your intentions are when the product of your actions is the increase of slavery. When you are going and working for a group of psychopaths who are killing children for fun, and then when they go, what they're really doing to children for fun is even worse than killing them. I'd rather die than have to go through some of the things that these people put children through. And so you order followers out there really need to get it through your heads that the whatever noble intention you think you have is a bunch of bullshit is really what it is. And it's not actually what's real. It might be real to you, but in a actual objective reality, what you're actually doing is empowering psychopaths. And when the chickens come home to roost, it'll be too late and you'll be able to do nothing about it. You'll be able to do nothing about it. It is you and your actions. You order followers out there. It's you and your actions that bolster these people's claims of authority that's increasing the slavery on this planet. And you ought to be ashamed of yourselves for participating in their psychotic game. And I've gone over it on this channel before that there is a place for public defense. It's just not to be left in the hands of the government. It needs to be in the hands of the people. And the government doesn't represent the people anymore. The government represents corporations. The government represents lobbyists and a bunch of other bullshit that they trick people into thinking that it's for them. This whole thing of corporate personhood kind of puts a different twist on the whole government of we the people, huh? When corporations can be people now. What do they mean by when they say we the people? Ask yourself that question, because it certainly doesn't seem like it's for people like me. And I know it's not for people like me because I don't want anything to do with these people. But their claims of authority over me, man, it's really difficult to get away from them. Anyways, so it's really important to ask yourselves the real hard questions of just exactly what are you doing when you sign up and willingly go into institutions like the military, and when you become a police officer. We got pulled over tonight on our way home from dinner, and the guy let us go immediately. That can't be all too bad of a guy, right? But no, he pulled us over because we were going a little too fast. Did we hurt anybody? No. He disrupted our day. He had no right to do so. He had no right to do that. But when the blue lights go on, if you don't pull over, guess what? That gives them the clearance to go and make you stop. And there's kids in the car. He doesn't know that, but he'll make you stop. And if you keep going, oh man, he's going to get that. It's going to be, or maybe even she these days, who knows? It's a girl or a boy or something in between. It can be anything these days. The guy or gal could identify themselves as a fucking rock. Who knows? So yeah, they'll kill you if you don't pull over. That's the extent to which these people will exert their authority over you. And government gives them license in the form of a badge to do so. And that's just scumbag behavior right there. And when they pull you over for something like that, what are they really looking for? They're not looking for you. He let us go right away. Oh, what a nice guy, right? That's what I was getting at. What a nice guy. Well, he wants to know if the driver's been drinking. He wants to know if there's other things going on in the car. That's what he wants to know, if there's anything more. When he pulls over a sweet young lady such as my wife and realizes that it's just a family traveling down the road going a little too fast, he just says, okay, see you later. Oh, and we're supposed to be thankful. Oh, thank you for interrupting our day with your pretty blue lights and your violent authority over us. Thank you so much. Okay, yeah, see you later. Bye. And so, yeah, it's that type of psychopathy that makes freedom really difficult. And it's these types of people out there that think that they can do that give the government their power. The type of power that even a government such as ours, at least on paper, seemingly never claimed the type of power that they have, never claimed to even want that type of power. That's, at least what the Federalist Papers and the Bill of Rights seems to say, but we all know, thanks to our boy Lysander Spooner, that the Constitution has either been powerless or to stop a government such as this from forming, or it allowed it to happen. In fact, you know what? Just for the sake of it, I want to get that absolutely correct. And it's so beautiful because it's like the last thing in this book. It's the appendix, from the appendix of No Treason, the Constitution of No Authority, which I have right here. Okay. Constitution of No Authority. Break out the book cam. Move some stuff around. Have some fun. Wee-hee. And he said, well, I'll just read it. You don't have to read it on the screen. He says, inasmuch as the Constitution was never signed nor agreed to by anybody as a contract, and therefore never bound anybody, and is now binding upon nobody, and is, moreover, such an one as no people can ever hereafter be expected to consent to, except as they may be forced to do so at the point of a bayonet, it is perhaps of no importance what is true legal meaning, as a contract is. Nevertheless, the writer thinks it proper to say that, in his opinion, the Constitution is no such instrument as it has generally been assumed to be, but that by false interpretations and naked usurpations, the government has been made in practice a very widely and almost wholly different thing from what the Constitution itself purports to authorize. He has heretofore written much, and could write much more, to prove that such is the truth. But whether the Constitution really be one thing or another, this much is certain, that it has either authorized such a government as we have had, or has been powerless to prevent it. In either case, it is unfit to exist. And with that, my friends, I leave you. Please go over to, where is it? I set up new, I got a Stream Deck here, and I set up new buttons today. So I'm trying to find my buttons. There we go. The Phoenix of Liberty was in the chat at one point. Thank you, Phoenix, for being here. Get it? Yeah, I think we got it tonight. And next week we'll continue to get it. So if you go over to voluntaristacademy.com, check out Voluntarist Academy, please. Check out voluntaristacademy.com, where Jonna is working really hard behind the scenes to, and that's Who to Thunk It. And she's working really hard behind the scenes to fix a bunch of stuff and really help make sure that this project of Voluntarist Academy can survive well into the future. If the YouTube channel gets nuked, which who knows if it could ever happen? I don't know. It could happen to anybody. It could happen to the nicest guy. I'm a nice guy. Come on, YouTube, leave my channel alone. I'm just kidding. Fuck them and their fucking, oh my God, the things they were doing during COVID. Holy shit. But I do stream here live, and but if you want to go over to Rumble, everything's caught up on Rumble, and that's the Rumble channel is going to be integrated into the website by way of embedding the videos from Rumble onto the website in the posts of the website. So when you go to the website, if you want to watch past episodes, you'll be sent over to the Rumble channel, where I guess it's a little bit more free speech. They're less likely to nuke my channel. So if anything happens on YouTube, sign up to the newsletter. sign up to the newsletter at voluntaristacademy.com/newsletter, and you'll be able to get a free copy of the Voluntarist Creed by Auburn Herbert, which you could find on your own if you don't want to sign up to the newsletter. You could find the Voluntarist Creed by Auburn Herbert on your own, but I take all that work out of there. Instead, all you got to do is give me a first name and an email, and subscribe to the newsletter. And if you sign up to the newsletter and you're like, oh, whatever happened to that voluntarist guy? Whatever happened to James Cordner? He's not on YouTube anymore. He must have given up. I assure you, I'm not giving up on this endeavor anytime soon. But if you ever go back to YouTube and I'm not there, then that means YouTube says, we don't like that stinking anarchist. And so, yeah, if you sign up to the newsletter, you'll be able to stay in contact with me. And now that this, oh my gosh, I totally almost forgot about this. Now that this series is done, I can start, oh man, this is so awesome. I can start sending out all the slides. There's like 400 something slides that I made for this series, which I want to gift to you out there listening, but you got to sign up to the newsletter because that's where you're going to be able to get them. They're going to go out in the newsletter. They will never be posted on my website. They're going to go out in the newsletter. So if you sign up to the newsletter, you automatically get a PDF copy of the Voluntarist Creed, where you can learn about where the term voluntarism was created and coined by Auburn Herbert in 1906, or even sooner, actually, even not sooner, even before then. But this is the Voluntarist Creed, which contains in it 2 essays, one that he wrote to Herbert Spencer, and another in which he talks about voluntarism as being the philosophy in which the freedom is created. It has nothing to do with, it honestly has nothing to do with capitalism. It has nothing to do with much of any other ism other than anarchism and voluntarism. Those are more closely related than capitalism and voluntarism. In fact, capitalism is good when it comes to the free market, but as more time goes on, what you learn is that this crony capital, I guess there's all sorts of different like subsections and whatever, but capitalism on a free market where everybody gets an equal chance to participate is where you find the most freedom. However, when immoral people participate on that market, this is why morality has to be always the foundation of any other movement. Anything being built has to be founded on the cornerstone of morality, or else it's going to fail, and it's going to end up with people suffering, and it's going to end up with people being kind of shafted and screwed over. So some people can be like the master, you know. So morality is key, and you can have like everything else as long as you're being moral. And we've gone over that before. So yeah, you can get your own copy of the Voluntarist Creed and read the plea for voluntarism. Actually, if you want to just learn about the plea for voluntarism, you can go onto the Voluntarist Academy feed or whatever. And do I have it on here? Oh, no. Yeah, maybe I do. Page 2. Yeah, the Voluntarist Creed, A Plea for Voluntarism by Auburn Herbert. I read that last year in the beginning of 2025. And you can hear the reading of that if you'd like. Or you can go and read it for yourself. Whichever way is what you want to do. That'd be great. And, before I forget, Brendan Daniel. Oh, my friend Brendan Daniel provides all the music for this channel. So he's awesome, dude. And his band, Red Pill Friends, just put out a new album. And you can find that at, I think he sent me the link to it. I think it's on Bandcamp. I think that's what it's called, Bandcamp. I don't have a link for that in the show notes. Maybe I should put one in there. And, yeah, bandcamp.com. Red Pill Friends. And they just put out an album. You should go check it out because it's brilliant. My friends, Brendan, who provides the music for this channel, another friend of mine, Mike, from the Terrain Theory podcast, which they hosted me last year, or maybe the year before. We've known each other for a couple of years. He's a good guy. And then their friend Jude, who I've also met, he's awesome. They got together. They're a bunch of talented musicians, the three of them, and they make this like super team, like music squad band. And they put out an album recently. Bandcamp.com. Search for Red Pill Friends and it'll come up. And you should go check that out. So BrendanDanielMusic.com is where you find his work and all of his stuff. And yeah, I just want to make sure I give him a shout out because I'm shouting out so many people. I shout out Mark Passio and Richard Grove and my wonderful voluntary assistant Jonna and Brendan. He's like the unsung hero of the show. So Brendan, if you're listening to this, buddy, I fucking love you, dude, and your music is incredible. So I guess that's it. I don't have much else to say other than, we have to do some civil disobedience. We have to. Every chance that you can, say no thank you, please. No thank you to the tyranny. No thank you to the control. No thank you to authority. Claim your sovereignty. Claim your liberty. Claim your freedom. Do so responsibly and take responsibility over yourself and your actions is the best way to do it. And friends don't let friends become order followers. Yeah, dude. Friends don't let friends become order followers. So, yeah, I think that's going to do it. Go over to voluntaristacademy.com, support the show, give this thing a thumbs up. If you can't support it any other way, the least you could do is free to just click the thumbs up button, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, do all those things, and teach this stupid fucking algorithm that my content is worth viewing. And it'll start putting it in front of other people. I think it's worth viewing, or else I wouldn't be doing this. And no one does a podcast, so nobody. The goal of there's never the goal of any podcast. No podcast out there has the goal of having nobody listen. So if you want to help do that, if you want to help get people listening, that's how you do it. You give it a thumbs up, you do all that stuff, and drop a comment and show that there's activity over here. Which plenty of you, it always helps. It's always very nice and kind, and I love it. So, yeah, I love you guys. Oh wait, maybe there was a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about. I mean, there's plenty I'll always talk about, but just remember that taxation is theft. No, wait. Taxation is slavery. When one group of people can get together and decide some arbitrary percentage of your earned wage or whatever you earn now belongs to them. What is that? That's slavery. So taxation, yeah, they do steal it. Yes, it is theft, but it's more than just theft. It's slavery. Remember that. It's perspective. It's a correct identification of what is going on. What's actually going on. And that's what language is here for, is correct identification of things. And yeah, there's different languages, and as you go through different languages, things become more subjective. Like in English, we say apple, but in a different language, it's something else. So it's subjective to the language, but it's still that thing. This is still a battery. No matter what language, what I'm holding in my hand is still a battery. No matter what language is used to describe this thing, it's this thing. Okay? Okay. Taxation is theft. Taxation is slavery. I love you all. You own yourself, period. You're not, no one else rightfully owns you. Okay? Start acting like it. See you guys next week with Chris Jansen. I'm out. Peace.
No masters, no slaves, no rulers, no state, no taxes, no cage.